Welcome back to my channel, Famous and Fabulous. As the lead singer, songwriter, and vocalist for Led Zeppelin, Robert Plant has always been looked up to and admired as one of the most important people in rock music ever since his first album. Hit Para has said that Plant is the best metal singer of all time because of how flashy he is on stage, how raw his voice is, and how well he writes songs. Some critics have said that his voice was too gritty, but he has still been ranked on many lists for his performances, such as Rolling Stone's 100 Best Singers of All Time, NPR's 50 Great Voices, and Billboard's 50 Greatest Rock Lead Singers of All Time. He was also called the best rock singer in a poll done by the UK's Planet Rock classic rock radio station in 2009. On the other hand, there was a dark secret between Plant and his band Led Zeppelin that was kept from everyone. Without a doubt, Led Zeppelin was a big part of making Plant's music famous around the world. Plus, even the best co-workers and band members aren't always the best of friends while they're busy. This was certainly the case for Led Zeppelin. But Plant and the other members used to like each other before they became hostile. Plant loved rock and roll music before he joined Led Zeppelin. He loved singing and dreamed of being on stage since he was 10 years old. In an interview with Andrew Denton in 1994, he talked about how, as a child, he liked to hide behind the curtains at home at Christmas and pretend to be Elvis. He said that the curtains and French windows gave the room a certain mood. It sounded like something a 10-year-old would make. Those were the only sounds he heard when he was 10 years old, and he always wanted to be a little like that. He quit college, where he was learning to become a chartered accountant, after only 2 weeks because he knew that singing was what he really wanted to do. He also left his home to follow his dreams. He went from one band to the next during this time. In Hobbs Tweedle, the band he played in the 1960s before he finally got big with Led Zeppelin, he had one of his most important jobs. It's interesting to note that Plant wasn't the first choice for the band. Jimmy Page had been looking for a lead singer, but his first few picks had turned him down. This is what led him to Flower. He sang Somebody to Love by Jefferson Airplane in front of Page. Page then said that when he auditioned him and heard him sing, he thought right away that there was something wrong with his personality, or that he would be hard to work with because he couldn't figure out why. He told me he had been singing for a while, but he wasn't a well-known singer yet. Page thought he was great, that he asked him to come over to see if they could work well together right away. Soon after, Led Zeppelin added its last and youngest member. From the moment he joined the band, Plant started writing songs and trying lyrics for them in addition to singing. He wrote almost all of the songs on Led Zeppelin's first record except for 3. The album went platinum and was called one of the most important events in the history of heavy metal music. Soon, the band was chasing success, and Plant was enjoying fame on a level he hadn't expected. Fans all over the world were cheering for him, which made his younger self feel so proud. At the height of the band's success in the 1970s, his performance on stage was so well received that he became known as the rock god. Plant wore a man-style wig with long blonde hair and performed bare-chested, jumping, roaring, and making very animated movements to bring the words he sang to life. His clothes, like the bright jeans and jackets he wore, and the famous jewelry he wore during his shows, also helped him become famous. The Rock Scene magazine's Chest-O-Rama, which was given to the person with the best chest in the world of rock, was one of the strangest awards he got for his style at this time. It was a pleasure to receive the praise, and Plant thought it was a funny addition to his collection. But even though the rock band Led Zeppelin was very successful, there didn't seem to be much love lost between its members, even though they worked together for many years. Each member loved playing so much that music was the only thing that brought them together. But that was the only thing they had in common. This was especially true as the work got harder and more tiring, and as many of the band members felt more and more uncomfortable in their roles. For Robert Plant, the worst thing about Led Zeppelin was that it wasn't his band. Jimmy Page was the one who got the band together, and each person was treated more like a worker than a real crew member. Page chose where the band's music would go and what parts each member would play. This was hard for Plant because he was very independent and had always wanted something that was just for him. Page also said that Plant was best at singing, which made people unhappy because it made Plant's other skills seem less important. The band's problems got worse when Bonham started using drugs and drink, which quickly led to his death by overdose and the end of Led Zeppelin. Jones, another member, talked about his friendship with Plant and other members in an interview with Q in 2007. He said, "We get along fine, but the thing is, we've never gone out together. We never saw each other again after we got off the road, which I always thought helped the band last and work well together. We weren't good friends." On top of that, Plant had talked about how he felt about his relationships with the band in general with their boss Peter Grant, when Led Zeppelin was at the height of their fame. Even though he was having more success than most musicians could have imagined, he asked Grant to back him up if he chose to go solo instead of with the band. Grant told the singer that the band was great as it was and asked who he thought would play the other instruments if he released a solo album. Plant changed the subject, but it looked like he had never really let go of it. Since right after Led Zeppelin broke up, Plant chose to go the solo route. Plant has had a great solo career, which is still going strong today. He has put out many successful songs and albums that were inspired by different events in his life. He liked playing music more than ever, because he was in charge of the music he made by himself. He worked with a lot of different acts, like Jeff Beck, Alison Krauss, and Phil Johnstone. One interesting twist to these collaborations was his 4-year touring act with Jimmy Page, during which they made another album together because fans loved seeing them reunited on stage. Plant also had more say over how the music was made, since there were only the two of them, which was very helpful. In spite of this, Plant continued to enjoy performing by himself. A lot of Led Zeppelin fans kept asking Robert Plant to do his part and get the band back together, especially after other bands from the time, like ABBA, the Beatles, and Rolling Stones, had great reunions. This is what the Guinness Book of World Records says: more than 20 million fans are ready for the band to come back on stage. And since tickets can cost up to $600 USD, there are a lot of ways to make a lot of money. But for Plant, the freedom was not worth the success. Plant told the Los Angeles Times that going back to the font to get the kind of huge applause he wants doesn't really meet his need to be stimulated. He went on to say that he knew people his age who don't want to stay home and play. If they were having fun and doing what they need to do to pass the time, then it wasn't my business. It looks like Plant loves music more for the pleasure and happiness it brings him than for the money or fame it could bring him. Being himself and being able to put out music that goes in the way he wants instead of what popular culture says is cool makes him happy. Robert Plant, who is 75 years old, smiles and thanks his fans even when his shows don't make as much money, as he hopes they will. We all know he doesn't need the money, but it looks like he doesn't need Led Zeppelin any less. Which Robert Plant song is your favorite? Leave your answer in the box below.